Hey everybody, it's Galmadex, and welcome back to another pre-recorded video while I'm out on vacation. We've got a flashback way back to War of the Spark here, a really cool set, super iconic one, super classic one at this point. I think the set's almost 7 years old now. It's definitely getting up there, but this was the big war between Nicol Bolas and the Gatewatch, so tons of planeswalkers all over this set. We've got a planeswalker in every booster pack, in fact. This was the first time we saw a lot of uncommon planeswalkers, and they all have only minus abilities to try to balance them out. They can't accrue value throughout the entirety of the game. They just get to use that minus ability a couple times and give you a pretty solid static ability. But Kasmina's still a really strong planeswalker, so we're going to easily start off the draft with her. Essentially a 4-mana sorcery to get two 2/2s and draw 2 and discard 2. Like, if the card read like that, it would be incredible, and sometimes it plays even better than that, where she's going to be able to get even more wizards if you proliferate at all and add counters to her. Proliferate is a mechanic in this set. And she's also going to be making your opponent's removal spells cost more to target your stuff. So Kasmine is a great place to start. And pick 2, might as well keep taking planeswalkers, right? And our set is also spectacular, especially in a deck with a lot of planeswalkers in it, a deck with a really high non-creature, non-land count. So instant sorceries, planeswalkers, artifacts, enchantments, anything like that, and she's going to be a spectacular card draw engine. This set also has some pretty good card draw spells, so if our opponent tries to cast any of them, she's just going to completely shut those off too, so really good when we're playing against another blue deck. So Narset's another fantastic card. Just start on mono blue planeswalkers for now. If she weren't in the pack, we do have a card with one of the set's other unique mechanics, which was Amass. This is the first set where they made the Amass mechanic, so that is basically you get a zombie army and put +1/+1 counters onto it equal to the amass counts. So that's even Eternal's really good. 3 mana for a 2/2 flyer and a 1/1 zombie. Incredible deal. But I think Narset is just a little better and certainly a little cooler to start with 2 planeswalkers for sure. Pick 3. The planeswalker's gone. No planeswalker out of this pack. And honestly, none of the commons are particularly great. None of the monocolored spells are particularly great. The strongest card is probably Angrath's Rampage, which is a bit flexible, making your opponent sacrifice a card of your choice, but 9 times out of 10, you're just going to make them sack a creature, which makes this not the greatest in the world because if they do have, a 2 mana 1/3 and then a big 6 mana 5/6, they're always just going to sack the 1/3, so you don't really get to kill what you want to kill with it. So I don't even think that's a strong enough reason to take a multicolored spell over taking a decent blue common here. So I'll just grab the Dam Breaker, which is a perfectly reasonable way to top off your mana curve, especially in a deck that has a lot of planeswalkers. So once we've used these abilities enough that these are sitting on 1 loyalty, unable to do anything, if I slam down a Dam Breaker, boom, they're back up to 2 loyalty. I can get 1 final minus effect out of them. So Dam Breaker's pretty good. Pick number 4, the blue cards here are quite weak. The Sky Theater Strix, I think, is the best of these cards. Can get some extra damage in as you're casting your planeswalkers, instants, and sorceries, but still think these are definitely weak enough to go to a secondary color, and this time the best off-color card is quite easily Chandra's Pyrohelix. 2 mana, 2 damage, split however you want. Not the most exciting. There are some good beefy creatures in the format, but in particular archetypes this still plays really well, like when you're against a deck spitting out a bunch of those 1/1 tokens, being able to clear out a couple creatures can be quite nice. Pick number 5. We've had a really exciting first 2 picks and then a pretty quick drop off because these packs are all just really mediocre now. We'll just take a totally loss for some on-color tempo-based removal. The format can play really slow as well, where the games play out if you're in like a blue mirror match where you both have a lot of counter spells. They can come down to milling, so sometimes you can even like bounce your own card back to the top of your deck. That's pretty rare, but it is added flexibility to the card. Pick 6, again, super weak pack. Now Law Rune Enforcer looks like the best card. This isn't great in this format because it can never tap a zombie army, so if your opponent amasses a bunch and gets a super big creature, From the amass ability, you can't stop it, but it can tap basically anything else in the format. There's almost no other playable 1-mana creatures, so it taps almost anything, just not zombie armies. Pick 7, Burning Prophet's pretty fine. Scries every time you cast a Planeswalker or an Instant or Sorcery or anything like that. Plays pretty well. There's also a Mobilized District. This is also okay. Land that turns itself into a creature, but it is a colorless land, so you are making your mana base a little bit worse to run it, to flood out less often. I'd rather just take Burning Prophet, get another card deep into red, maybe. Pick 8 Karn. Okay, yeah, this is the useless Karn. That's kind of tragic. Doesn't really do anything in draft. This is not an artifact-heavy set, so we're not going to draft any other artifacts alongside it. I mean, if I get a million of those mana geodes that have been kind of flying around, then it does a little bit of something, but it's still not good. I'm just going to take Erratic Visionary here. Pick 9, there's another Visionary. The green cards are all filler. They're pretty fine filler, though. Actually, Bond of Flourishing is a decent draw. But we have way better reasons to be in blue than anything else here. That's the only place we have any real power currently. Pick 10. Kazmina's Transmutation, if you don't manage to get enough removal, is very filler removal. 2 mana, 2/2 filler creature. 3 mana, 1/4 filler creature. One of those mana geodes for splashing around. Incredibly filler Crowvod, and we see what we open up. Pack 2, pick number 1. This is a really strong pack. So we have removal with Jaya's Greeting. We have a great bounce spell with Callous Dismissal. 2 mana for a 1/1 plus bounce any non-land permanent. That's one of the best mana wars ever printed. One of the best bounce creatures ever printed. Card is really, really nice with cards that care about casting non-creature spells or drawing non-creature spells, so it works really well with Narset as well as Burning Prophet too. I think Dismissal has a ton of great synergies for the deck, so that's what I want to take, but I do also want to mention 2 other great cards, the Dreadhorde Twins for a blue-red amass deck. If we get our zombie army to be really, really big, it's going to be a gigantic trampler. And then Solar Blaze, splashing a whole board wipe off that card could also be real good, but I just think Dismissal is an incredibly efficient card. It's great in the first place, but it is particularly great in our deck. Now for pack 2, pick 2, we can take a Dreadhorde Twins this time around. Lean a little deeper towards that blue-red spells archetype. That looks like a great spot for us to be. So, yep. Grab the Twins. I mean, the Twins itself, obviously not like a blue-red spells card, but one of the best ways to get a really high non-creature count into your deck for your cards like Burning Prophet, for your cards like Narset, are to take these instants and sorceries like Callous Dismissal that play a lot more like creatures because they come with that zombie army token. So we'll be doing a lot of amassing here, even if we're focused on spell synergies. We can do a bit of both. Pick 3, a whole lot of nothing again, mainly a totally lost for us. Paradise Druid for the green decks. There is a fine black-white life gain deck. Certainly not as good as we've seen recently in like Foundations or anything like that, but you could try to go for it with a card like the Primate there. I'm just going to take another totally lost. All right, blue and red are just cut from this direction, so we are really crossing our fingers for pack 3. Best cards here on black, a Toll of the Invasion and Kaya, Bane of the Dead. I suppose Kaya can be black or white, whereas the Toll is forced to be black here, and we actually do have a few white spells, so we'll go for the Kaya, but these 2 cards are just miles ahead of everything else in this pack. Kaya exiles 2 creatures by herself. If she's not dealt damage by your opponent, if you do some proliferating, you might be able to clear out more, but you got to do a lot of proliferating for this Kaya. Pick number 5, well, there we go. There's another Burning Prophet. A Tybalt's Rager is also fine. This is a much better pack for our spells deck. Take a Prophet. Pick 6. This pack's perfectly fine. Spellkeeper weird, a bit filler, but certainly playable. Just about as filler as these off-color cards. So, really only that 1 or 2 packs there where I felt really bad about being blue-red. Now everything's back to being pretty equal in card quality between all the colors. Pick 7, Lazotep Reaver. Yeah, I just wish I was black. This card is one of the better unmasked cards. It's just so efficient at doing it. We're definitely not splashing in a 2-drop. But maybe I end up splashing in the red. I mean, our red's not insane. Could play Reaver and Kaya here if I push towards black. Super filler pack. We'll take a Turret Ogre. Pick 9 Dreadhorde Twins. Okay. So maybe it's just blue that's cut, because that is super late for this card. I'm very excited to see that, actually. Kind of makes me feel like I'm just back to blue-red and sticking to it. Maybe those packs just did not have a lot of good blue-red, or just somebody's cutting all the blue at least. Really only got like a Visionary and a Weird late at all that pack. We took the Dismissal super early. But yeah, that was a very late Dreadhorde Twins. I'm really happy with that at least. So there must have just been some poopy red if we saw that so late, but basically nothing else in the red. All right, pack 3, pick 1. What do we got? Saheeli's pretty perfect for what we're doing right now. Playing a lot of non-creature spells. This is going to be spitting out servos every time we're doing it. That counts us casting Narset, Kasmina, Callous Dismissal, all of our removal. I think we're a pretty fun Saheeli deck. Mizium Tank is for like the really aggressive version of this deck. If we want to super jam in damage, now we're jamming in damage every time we cast a non-creature spell with the tank itself. But I'd rather play, I think, the slower grinder deck with the really good draw spells of Kasmina and Narset. So I'm going to go Saheeli on this one.
If it's a challenge you want, then a challenge you'll get.
Pack 3, pick 2, some efficient removal with a Chandra's Triumph. That's a definitely solid choice for us here. We can also splash in Bioessence Hydra. +1/+1 counter for each loyalty counter on planeswalkers you control. That is ridiculously huge if you have basically any planeswalker on the board. I already have 1 mana Geode. If we just draft like 1 more copy, play a couple forests. Yeah, this seems actually insane enough to splash in here. I have a Firemind Vessel I can play too. Sure. Blue-red splash in our one of Bioessence Hydra. Another Callous Dismissal is awesome. If this were like removal, if this could shoot a creature, I'd probably take it over the Callous Dismissal, but it cannot. So, Dismissal it is. Certainly looking for more ways to blow up creatures if we can find those. More hard removal spells would go a long way for the deck. These two are our first 2 cuts, just our most filler of our creatures, looking for better non-creature spells to play over them. Alright, well, it's not a non-creature spell, but Aven Eternal is just a really good spell in general. 2/2 flyer plus amass 1. I'll take that. Triumph, also solid for our deck. We don't have a Jace Planeswalker, but just Divination, 3 mana, draw 2. But I think Aven Eternal is just a good enough card on raw power to take it over the slightly more synergistic card there. Pick 5. This pack is pretty bad for us. Guess we take that Strix thing. I really don't think I'm going to end up playing that. I mean, I'll play it over an Assailant at least. But that'll be my first cut now. That or one of the triple Visionaries. Ooh! Invade the City. I wish we were a better Invade the City deck. We have 5 instants and sorceries total right now. Man, if we got this pack 1, pick 1, we could just take that and never look back. But only 5 instants and sorceries in the whole deck. We've got a bunch of our non-creature spells actually being planeswalkers here. And artifacts makes the Invade the City not that great, but Ral's Outburst is always spectacular. 4 mana, deal 3 to any target, plus draw a card of your choice out of the top 3. So this one's really nice removal, which is exactly what we were looking for, was more removal, and that is a great one. I'll play Relentless Advance over one of these creatures. Oh my god, another Ral's Outburst. Final pack really did us a lot of good there. Very excited for this deck now. I think this is a fine 16 lander with a Geo to Firemind Vessel. Some draw discard when we need it. Although maybe we cut Transmutation for 17th land. I don't think that'd be terrible. That card is generally pretty weak. Yeah, I'm actually going to go 17 lands here. It's going to up our blue and red sources that way. Like, I probably don't need to draw as many lands as a 17 deck does on average, but I do need a lot of sources of each color towards being able to splash in the green while still running a reasonable amount of blue and red. Yeah, I'm fine with it. I don't think Kasmina's Transmutation is particularly great. Okay, so let's double check our mana base here. Between a Geo to Firemine Vessel, I think four green sources for Hydra would be good for me, so in order to run a little more of our main colors, I'm going to cut a forest there. 16 blue cards, 8 red. I've got 8 ways to get red right now. 10 to get blue. Let's go 9, 10. I do have a lot more blue spells than red, but they're still both really important colors to have early because we're starting the game with Burning Prophets at 2 mana. So I like just a little more blue than the red. Yeah, looks pretty reasonable to me. Not perfect. We didn't end up with a million good removal spells, but those Ral's outbursts in the end really, really helped us out to make this look like a very reasonable deck where we're getting a lot of solid value off our Planeswalkers. If we ever hit the Bioessence Hydra with a Planeswalker on board, that's going to be brutal. We can also get some pretty strong mass curve outs. I've got a couple 1-mana mass cards, a little bit of 2-mana, or sorry, a couple 2-mana mass cards, a tiny bit of 3-mana mass, and then a good chunk of 4-mana mass stuff to get a big trampling zombie army. That could play pretty well. A lot of different aspects this deck can play on that look pretty strong. So very excited to see how it does. Without further ado, let's hop into the gameplay. All right, here we are with a super solid mass curve out this game. Firemine Vessel is going to be a little redundant to this hand. A little useless here for now, but Dismissal into Eternal into Twins gets a pretty big zombie army pretty early. We are on the draw, which makes the Dismissal a little bit better. On the play, they're pretty unlikely to have a decent permanent to bounce on turn 2 because they just have a 1-mana card, but here, because they're on the play, I get to Dismissal their 2-drop, which we don't actually want to Dismissal the Reaver because then it just makes another zombie. But by dismissing the zombie army token, their next to mass card just makes a little token again, which is nice. Gateway Plaza, a little bit of mana fixing for them, but it forces them to essentially skip the turn, which means we get some damage in here with our 2/2 zombie army. Thanks to amassing last turn and this turn. They're down to 18. Just get the curve out here, send in a 4/4 trample next turn. They could double block to trade into it. And then they could just get the 2/2. I still hit them for 2 in the sky. Because they can double black and I do have some more interaction, I'm gonna hold off on that. I'm gonna play the Twins post-combat. Save that attack for later when I might be able to combat trick with an outburst or totally lost to make the combat particularly favorable. Arlen's Wolf, just a 3/2. Okay. Dismissal already makes the attack great now without a trick of their own. Let's play the Prophet so I scry off of Dismissal as well. Force the recast on the Herald, and they only have 4 power out against our 5 toughness zombie army. And I'm cool with Twins trading into Wolf here. I'll lose the trample, but that is fine if it means I'm clearing out a 3/2 here. Still good value. They're down to 7. Big stuff from the gigantic zombie army here. I kept the Dam Breaker on top despite it being 6 mana, because I technically will have the mana for it. Even if I draw no more lands, I can spend a turn on Firemind Vessel later. They are at 7 life. Got a big Trampler, I've got a surprise 3 damage. I think this is just the Flunge. And see if the way that they blocks can lead into Outburst being lethal, either by targeting their face or targeting something that gets more trample damage. And so currently we hit for 1, 2, 3, 4. So I just hit for 7 if this resolves. I could also try to kill one of these and then trample over for lethal, but I think it's a little more likely to lethal them if I just shoot their face in the end step. Because the odds of them having instant speed life gain, I think, is lower than the odds of them having some combat trick to buff something out of range. Sure, I'll keep the forest on top. It's irrelevant. Yeah, and there's the lethal. That is 1-0 heading into game number 2. This is a very risky hand here. I might lose to my hubris, die to the hubris on this one, but if we work our way up the curve, that is a very solid Planeswalker, and then a Bioessence Hydra to get the counters for having the Planeswalker on board. If our opponent is aggro, especially if they go like 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop, we're going to have big, big problems not casting anything to defend ourselves till turn 4, but we did immediately top deck a 2-mana play, which helps a lot. They do have the Triumph Fort, but that's fine. They cast that instead of playing any other creatures here. Erratic Visionary helps this hand a lot, lets me ditch these useless Totally Losts and turn them into lands instead. Or at least get them closer to being lands. There's a Spark Reaper from our opponent. We did immediately hit the mana, so Kasmina instead is going to work our way up to Bioessence Hydra. Come on, green source. That is not a green source, but the mana to cast the second Totally Lost is still useful, so I'm going to keep it. Triumph. Gotta sack a 2/2 here to be able to block Spark Reaper and keep Kasmina on board. Okay. And then Opportunist. Callous Dismissal's the draw. Not bad. Bounce the Spark Reaper, force a recast, have a 1 toughness card up. Draw and discard here. Another dismissal. Alright, goodbye land then. I will slow them down here. I'm probably drawing and discarding a Totally Lost. I'm going to keep Visionary up as a blocker, though. It's our only blocker that can kill the Opportunist without dying, so I'll do it at instant speed. I could have still done Visionary during our turn. That way, if we did hit our land drop, specifically one of the 2 green sources, then I could still play it for the turn. Ooh, Augur Bolas would be awesome in our deck. Actually, no, it wouldn't. It's instant or sorcery only. Doesn't get planeswalkers and artifacts and stuff. And there, Augur did miss. Okay, draw and discard. Find Dreadhorde Twins. That's pretty strong. We'll play that next turn. Now we've got a 3/3 Trampler hanging out. Actually, at this point, the green mana for Bioessence Hydra doesn't even go that hard. If I draw a second Planeswalker, it will, but we have worked Kasmina down to 1 loyalty. So it's just a 5-mana 5/5 for now. There's Overseer. Alright, here's where Spark Reaper really gets to show off its power and just be straight gas for our opponent. Because they can sack the 1/1 draw card, sack the Augur draw card. They can get way ahead on cards here while we're dirtling around. Sorcery speeding this to see if we find a relevant play for the turn. I guess I do. It's better than Dismissal here. I don't want to Dismissal anything and have them just sack it to the Spark Reaper anyway. Like, I could dismissal the Spark Reaper, then they respond by sacking the 1/1, drawing a card, and then just still recast it next turn. Yeah, I do not like the Spark Reaper at all. I would like to draw some of my burn now, please. Guess the Pyro Helix doesn't work. We don't have a Jaya's Greeting this deck for 3. So we need to hit one of the 2 Ral's Outbursts to clear out the Spark Reaper. Ew. Guess I didn't put more eggs into that basket. Well, no, they don't have the mana to Spark Reaper this turn, so they have to tap out next turn, recast plus sack off of Dismissal. Plus Dismissal gives me 2 creatures now. Yeah. Cool. Now Bioessence Hydra is pretty strong. Now this thing is massive. That's a 10/10 trample. Until they poke Saheeli, which is really unlikely right now. Problem is that we're against a black deck, which could absolutely have ways to deal with a 10/10. They have plenty of removal. That's just destroy target creature. That would be really bad for me. Well, none of the 4 green sources are in the top 20. Tragic. We're still digging around. They're still drawn all over the place with Reaper. This is a format where board stalls are prevalent with that amass mechanic. Interesting. They sack their 1/3 over their zombie army. So they likely have some kind of large amass spell coming up soon. If they want to keep it. Okay. Still no green. Still no green. There's a forest. Yeah, plop it down, draw a card, discard this island. Drain us with the Opportunist. Fair enough. They are blue-black, so not only can they Spark Harvest to destroy a resolved Bioessence Hydra, but they could have No Escape, which is a common counter spell, to counter one on the stack. So I think I lead with Aven Eternal, and I still get to start chipping for 2 a turn with that if it resolves. Auto Tapper's a big idiot. We should not have tapped double blue here. I guess it doesn't matter, right? Because I can't, like, play this and then activate both of these, or I'm just discarding the Hydra. Okay, never mind. I'm the big idiot. I still think it should have kept all of the blue untapped with multiple Visionaries on board. Should have tapped out a red there. Opportunist is doing its thing until we can find any of our burn. Our Pyro Helix does work against that, so we have all 3 of our burn spells in our bottom 15 would kill that. Okay. Okay, Dambreaker is actually pretty legit too. So, I don't have enough lands to cast Dambreaker through the counter unless you pay 2. But Hydra can get through the counter unless you pay 2. But not the No Escape. But if they had No Escape, they probably would have killed Eternal. I guess we at least attack with Eternal first and see if they spend any mana on removal. Not that it'll really matter. Even if they spend removal on Eternal, they have so much mana at this point, they'll still have No Escape mana up. Okay. Yeah, if I play land for turn, the only thing that can counter Hydra is the counter unless you pay 2, which is also a common in this format, so I think I play around that, seeing as they didn't know Escape Haven Eternal. Okay. Got my 10/10 trample. And if I hit another land next turn, I can go land, then Dambreaker to again play around the counter unless you pay 2. Alright, they're doing some digging with Spark Reaper, likely looking for removal to kill the Hydra with. If they're choosing not to Opportunist there, like if they already had a Spark Harvest in hand, I imagine they would just drain us with our Opportunist and then kill Hydra next turn. Ooh, death-touching zombies. Death-touching hex-proofing zombies, so I can't even throw some burn at it to get it out of the way of my Bioessence Hydra. That is not good at all. So I get 1 attack with Bioessence Hydra. Period. Still got trample. It's still going to be a big attack, but it's going to be 1 attack total. Play around the counter unless you pay 2, and make the Hydra ridiculously big here. This Hydra's about to get 3 more counters on it. We proliferate 1 onto it, but by proliferating an additional counter onto the 2 different Planeswalkers, it gets 2 more counters as well. Just gets 1 for each loyalty added. Cool, 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 cool. Can make one of my... I can make my 1 servo a copy of one of my creatures. I could poke for a couple more in the sky, I guess, at some point. I could have made the servo a Bioessence Hydra and then did that and then got more counters on it. Is it worth just sacking Kasmina here? How much more Proliferate do I have in this deck? I have no more Proliferate in the whole deck, so yes, it is worth sacking Kasmina. Although it would make me mill one, because I don't have a second card in hand since I've been playing around Crush Descent. So the draw discard would just be a mill. I think I wait a turn then. And then get my Kasmina 2/2. Soren's Thirst or something. Oh, Nyx's Cruelty. Very cruel to my burb. I guess if I find any burn that could kill the army, I just use it to kill the Vizier, and then it doesn't have Death Touch anymore. I don't know what took me so long to realize that. But that's obviously the play. Find any of the burn in the deck, kill the Vizier, and get in. Totally Lost or Callous Dismissal. Those are temporary solutions to the Vizier, though, which I do not love. Far prefer a permanent solution. So now I can also Sahelia Servo into picking up another spell. Sahelia Servo into being a Spellkeeper Weird, pick up a Totally Lost, and still have a Spellkeeper Weird on board is a pretty decent line that we have coming up. I do need to keep in mind I can Callous Dismissal my own permanents, I think. I can Callous Dismissal my own Kasmina. Or Saheeli in future games if I minus them too much. I can just put it back in my hand and start minusing all over again. This format has so much unique little stuff going for it. Just forgot all those little interactions, but that's really cool. You can dismissal your own minus Planeswalker to get its loyalty back up, which would be really good with a Hydra on board too. Another Dreadhorde twins. Wow. All 3 of the burn spells are in the bottom 9. See, not what I really want to see, but if I pick up a dismissal here, I make my army bigger. Bounce a Vizier for a turn, get another 1/1 servo. Get a swing with Hydra, get a swing with Dambreaker. Yeah. Feels pretty worth it. Cruelty the Spellkeeper. This is still decent value for me, because we've gotten rid of the Cruelty and I still get a card back. I think it's Dismissal over Totally Lost. If I Totally Lost, they could crush Descent by Totally Lost. The counter unless I pay 2.
Some lessons for you all.
They could not counter unless I pay 2 on this. They could sack the Vizier, but that sounds like a really bad plan for them. When they could just recast it next turn and have their death touch up. Exile permanent control, return it back to the battlefield. Beginning of the next end step. Okay, that also doesn't really change anything here. Still does what I want it to do. I guess my army is slightly smaller. Not playing Dreadhorde Twins because, again, Crush Descent would be crushing. Which means no attack with the army because you just go 1/4 on the 3/3 now. Sure. Do some kind of weird trick here on Dambreaker. Oh, this is another Omnixlus's Cruelty, maybe? They need 3 more damage or -3/-3 or something like that. Otherwise, this block makes no sense. And they concede. Okay. All right. I guess we take those. Pretty long battle there. Still don't think that game was over yet. We were still really searching for those burn spells to permanently get rid of the Vizier. But if we could find one of those, that was going to be our big moment to then get swings turn over turn. So strange place for it to end, but we'll take it. We are 2-0 heading into game number 3. And for game number 3 here, we immediately have the green for the Hydra. No blue for the Visionary, but I've got Prophet on 2 and Twins on 4, no matter how we draw, so we'll keep it. Hello. Third red source is not what we want, that's for sure. Another blue spell is not cool either. Another blue-black deck. Blue and black are just the strongest colors in the format, period. This was the first time they ever made the amass mechanic, and they missed a little bit. It's a bit too strong. So blue, black, and red are the strongest colors because they're the most amass-heavy colors, but particularly blue and black are tremendously good because they have all the great amass cards and exceptional removal out of black. So I do expect to see a lot of blue-black as we saw last game, and now this one as well. Scry 4, draw 2. Card is pretty excellent in this format because the set has tons of great rares and mythics, mostly planeswalkers, so digging towards them is awesome. That's never what you want to see. Your opponent scries 4, puts all 4 on top. They're just like, oh, I guess I didn't need to scry. This deck is all gas. Let's go. Let's get in there. All right, so we get to kind of curve out here. Dreadhorde Twins into Bioessence Hydra into Dambreaker. So we are supplying our own threats, but I've got a feeling there's going to be some kind of rare or mythic threat on the other side of the table that's just going to be even worse than our best we can do right now. Yep. It's a god. God Eternal Bantu. 5/6 menace. When it dies, just put it right back into your library, third from the top. So even if I can kill it, it's not particularly valuable to do so. They're just going to redraw it and get its enter effects all over again. Here's a sad Bioessence Hydra with no counters on it, and we pass. There's a Dambreaker with nothing to proliferate onto. And we have reached the gigantic board stall of all board stalls, where we are gonna stare at each other. Can play Visionary or Weird or just a Dambreaker with a single proliferate target. I don't like only proliferating one card here, but in order to have very reasonable blocks, the 5/6 is my best bet. Otherwise, if they attack with both of these, one of them is getting in pretty well. I'm in a really bad spot if they draw into like an Obnixlus's Cruelty. Because then any place that I try to double block to kill a 5/6, they just eat both the creatures and we fall pretty far behind on board. I'm already quite a bit behind in cards in hand. They cast a Scry 4 Draw 2 and Bontu drawing an extra card. So we're going to have to draw pretty well to stand a chance on this one. There's the Herald of the Dreadhorde. There's a Saheeli. That is not bad with a Bioessence Hydra on board, that's for sure. Unless they have a No Escape in hand. Ooh, Scrying Outburst to the top, I like that. It's not the greatest on this board, actually, but it is still decent. So they definitely don't have No Escape. They would have countered the heck out of Saheeli. So that's good to know. If we can find a Callous Dismissal for Saheeli, that'd be busted. Callous Dismissal my Bioessence Hydra. If they don't also have a counterspell, oh, or just also have Mind Rot, gross. Alright, I was gonna say it just comes back as a 9/9 anyway. But not if it doesn't come back. Well, that's sad. Yeah, go back to staring at each other. Charity Extractor, sure. If I hit 5 million mana, I can Outburst, pick up Outburst, and Outburst to double Outburst, a 6 toughness card, like the Dambreaker. I'm gonna need 10 mana to do it. It's likely better to just keep milling lands with Visionary instead. Vance is actually not the worst here. 6/6 stat line, decent against all the 5/6s. There's Dismissal. Not actually insane on this board. think I ditched that for later. Okay, totally lost is fine. I think that's better than dismissal since it is instant speed. Alright, there's Crush Descent. And so now that I don't have a 6/6, I'm less likely to be able to attack in and try to totally lost against a double block or something here. Which is kind of the whole point of keeping it. Teferi, Time Raveler, kill a 3/3 and draw a card? That's pretty good in this format. And it is a rare, so it does have a plus. They proliferate onto it immediately. Alright, I think we've been bombed out by the superior rares here. Teferi has flipped the board into a crushing lead for our opponent now, after the early value from Bond 2. I can outburst the Teferi before it does anything else at least. But I am taking 1,000,000 damage on board off of the double removal. We do not have enough blocks for all these big creatures. Our block against the 4/4 was quite favorable though, so at least there's that. Oops, I'm overspending. Not actually very good on this board. I guess I can still just put it on top, and it's one of my two options, so I guarantee one of the top two cards is an on-land card. Yeah, I'll keep it so I know for sure I'm getting an on-land off of Outburst. Okay, Eternal's probably better than just killing Herald. Getting a 1/1. Yeah, Eternal is better. Play around a 1-of removal spell by doing this. Now they need 2 removal spells or a good combat trick. Okay.
Let's get started.
Double removal on a stick. Only kills really big stuff though. But it completely shuts off non-combat damage, so it shuts off all of our burn and we're a red deck. So basically all our removal is useless now with the Wanderer on the board. I can Spellkeeper Weird back by my Amass card, I guess. Have a 4/4 and a 1/1. Because Outburst would just go to face. No, it wouldn't. I can't even shoot their face. Outburst would go to the Wanderer and she'd still have 2 loyalty. So Outburst would 100% just be draw a card. So it's probably better to get this up to 4/4 stats. Scry 1, get a 1/1. Like a turn from dead either way. Their card quality is just through the roof with the best cards in their deck being huge bombs. Alright, I'm not dead on board, but I'm dead really, really soon now. I got a 1 life on board. Alright, they can just wander that thing anyway. Yeah, that's filthy. You got me? So we had 0 good plays last turn, actually. I had to just outburst a Wanderer and draw something, in which case I'd have 3 mana for whatever I draw into. I guess the best play was to just do nothing. Just pass the turn to them and then chump block with the 1/4, and after the chump, sack and pick up the outburst there. I don't know. They just had a lot of really, really strong cards, which is definitely a big part of the format. We are 2-1 heading into game 4. Here we are for game 4. Pretty awkward opener. We really want some non-creature spells here. If we find them, this hand becomes quite solid with all the Burning Prophet Scry. Still haven't drawn our Narset a single time, and some of these games have gone really long, so statistically it's about time to see a Narset. She'd be an incredible draw this game, because she would draw us a lot of cards, give us a lot of gas, get these attacking for 2 damage next turn, get a double scry. Ew. Okay, the Death Touch makes that less appealing, but Narset would still be an incredible draw at any point. Blue-black deck number 5000. As we are playing War of the Spark, they are the best colors by far. Gleaming Overseer, copy number 5000. That's 3 for 3 in our last 3 games. There's Kasmina, though. Very, very solid here. Definitely the play over just activating Visionary. You can get a double scribe before she resolves. I'll keep a Dreadhorde Twins. I will definitely keep that. I'm drawn to that for the future.
War is coming. I will not be unprepared. Join my cause.
Menace, Hexproof Menace Death Touch is gross. So I have to double block and lose 2 creatures if I want to keep Kasmina. Oh my god. 3 Premium Amass uncommons in a row. It's brutal. 4/4 flying Hexproof Menace Death Touch. I think you may just have me here. The only thing that really matters is the zombie army, so Dambreaker doesn't block that at all, so we just play the twins to at least get Dambreaker proliferate value once I drop that down. Thunder Drake. Sorin's Thirst, immediate double spell, sure. Die to these flyers super fast, so now I even have to dig out of this Dambreaker for something that does anything to the flyers. That is not it. That is not it either. Just this would be good if the army didn't have hexproof. Still okay. On the Drake at least. That's just a chump block. Chump block gets me nowhere. Really not doing anything on blocks, am I? Might as well send in the team. Dead in 2 swings. Turned it into 3 swings at least, potentially. Yeah, 3 swings till death. I should have sent in the profits too, actually. Could have hit them to 14. Okay, now I can't attack on the grounder. I just make the flyer even bigger. Oh, I think you're too late in our set, but we'll see. I'm just narsetting 5 cards deep, so if those are non-land cards, they're irrelevant. I just can't because the hexproof. I can bounce the hexproofer and then still take all that. Totally Lost is revealed, so I can also Totally Lost the Skylord and then block the army with everybody else to kill it. But then when they recast the Skylord, they now have a new 3/3 flying hexproof menace. There's just no way out here. I'm going to move on to the next game. That is the blue-black Amass menace of the format for you. Hopefully, we don't play against it 4 games in a row as we head into game number 5. All right, here we are on the draw for game number 5. We've got the double profit to go with the Rouse Outburst to really dig through our deck here. Looks like a blue-red mirror match for now, but they start with the mana-fixing Globe, so they can do whatever colors of stuff they want. The Saheeli nice and early is nice. Getting those 1/1s every time we do anything. If they don't get a creature down here, it might be tempting to just play Profit first still. They do get a creature down with Callous Dismissal. I'm okay with Saheeli taking a hit here as long as she's not dead, so if they don't amass like 4 this turn, this is fine. As long as she has at least 1 loyalty, I'm cool with it. And so we lead with Saheeli so that I can double spell 2 2-drops on turn 4, be nice and mana efficient there. That's probably really bad for me. Rare Planeswalker. Exile top card of your library, you can play it this turn. They can do that every single turn. Once she is at 7 loyalty, she can -7 and then poke me for 5,000 points of damage. No, she pokes me for 7 points of damage and they draw 7 to play this turn. That is indeed very bad, as assumed. And every time I hit her, she shoots my Planeswalkers. So if I kill her, she just kills Saheeli, and that's after drawing them tons of cards. Are they on 5 color here? Guild Globe, blue, black, red. There's a green Centaur Nurturer. I guess they're on 5 color Guild Globe. Pretty fun deck to go for. Okay, here's my Bioessence Hydra. Please no removal spell so that I can just delete Chandra with that thing. And in turn, she's going to delete Saheeli, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Exile the top, hit a land. Play the land for turn. Still 5 more cards in hand, thanks to all this card draw. Invading Manticore. Big blocks to protect Chandra. I am happy to have my instant speed Rouse Outburst. But I definitely can't attack with the Burning Prophets now. Saheeli's about to get deleted. Alright, they do this, and Chandra gets to stay out no matter what I do, so I'm just gonna kill the invading Manticore. Yeah, and Bioessence Hydra lives too, so this is fine. This comes in tapped, so I can't do both these things. I think I'm just supposed to outburst the army during their turn, probably. They want to ult Chandra. They have to completely sacrifice her, at least. They have to spend another turn plussing. But if they do ult, they do have 7 cards to play with, but they only can play them this turn, so really it's going to be like a draw 3. Alright, so they do go for the +1. Hit a land. Play the land. Dismissal the Hydra. Oh shoot, I forgot that that amasses the army to 4 toughness. I missed my opportunity to kill that army and replace it with just a 1/1. Oh my god, plus proliferate. You got it. So even if I killed the army, they'd have a 2/2 army up. They just block both our profits with a 2/2 and a 2/4. I have no chance of touching Chandra. So the only way for them to not ult Chandra and kill Saheeli is for me to outburst Chandra, in which case she's still on board using the plus ability every single turn. Just getting kind of bombed again. I'm surprised they care that much about Saheeli, considering if I do anything to Chandra, she's basically dead anyway. Doesn't feel great. That's definitely not great.
All right, that's it.
Twins is fine. If they shoot my face, I think I'll trump the 5/5. If they shoot Saheeli, then there's a debate there. But I think we just let her die. It's like I'm not playing Firemind Vessel next turn over one of these spells, so I'm not playing any more non-creature spells for a while. They do shoot face. Probably worth the chump then. Just in case. We start a spell chain later. Bond of Insight, everybody mills 4. They draw 2 instant sorceries from grave. Double Callous Dismissal. So they just dismissal my Hydra 2 turns in a row. Or my my armies here. They did tap all their creatures to do that, so had I top decked another non-creature spell, I could kill Chandra this turn. Because I could hit for 6, but I only have 1 non-creature spell in hand. Ah. If Twins were any of our spells, this is the turn we actually get the kill on Chandra and have a chance. But it was a creature. Honestly, this is another game I'm just going to sit here and slowly die to all this Chandra value, no matter how I play it. I just keep playing Hydra, it keeps getting bounced, they keep drawing extra cards. Even if I'm pinging away at Chandra, they then kill Saheeli and they're still drawing 1 extra every turn. Drawing twice as many cards as me from that. Their board's already bigger. I'm just going to move on. Spend my time recording the next draft here. We just got bombed out these last couple of games and had a ton of games against blue-black. Pretty rough run for our return to War of the Spark, but That's okay, because we got 2 drafts to do here, so our next video is going to be... Actually, I don't know what order I'm going to upload these all in. I might do Super Variety's sake, or I might do 2 in a row of everything. I'm recording 2 in a row of everything for while I'm out on vacation, so I'm going to immediately be recording another draft right now in my timeline, but I guess the next draft of War of the Spark for you might be a little while. Yeah, I don't think I honestly drafted that poorly here. I don't think we saw a whole ton of excellent removal in any other colors, which was kind of our biggest weakness in these matchups. Black probably had the most removal, but we wouldn't have gotten nearly as powerful as most of those blue-black decks that we saw. Almost no copies of Cruelty and Spark Harvest and stuff like that in the pod, but we did get a Kaya at least. Had we went deep on black and some decent amassers again, nothing quite as good. None of those premium like mythic uncommon amass cards we were getting crushed by, but I don't know. I think we ended up with a really reasonable deck for this draft pod. We saw these outbursts super late to reward us for being in the blue-red color pair. I don't think the green splash was super great, but it also wasn't super greedy here. It played out fine. Yeah, I mean, the deck is just a fine deck, but overall it felt like kind of just a fine draft pod. I think we drew a little bit on the weaker end for this deck as well. We only got to play our Narset like 1 game. I think the double dismissal, Narset, Kasmina, double outburst. We've got a lot of pretty solid power in here. Just did not get the matchups we wanted to see. Ran into some balmy and powerful archetypes from our opponents, and that's going to knock us down to a 2-3 below average run here, sadly, for the return of War of the Spark. But again, that is not going to end the War of the Sparks this time around. Maybe next time, blue-black amass will just be super open and we get to be the menace of the format on our next draft. Or maybe we'll open a Nicol Bolas, go pure Grixis. That would be sick as well. There's a lot of cool things we can do in the format, so hopefully we can show those off in the next draft. But as for today, that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in the recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.